Hello everyone, Ember here, and welcome back to a new video. In this one I'm going to be looking at a whole bunch of new cards that were revealed for the set Mask of Change. Now, there is some cards that have already been revealed, but we're getting illustrations rares for, so I will just re-review them because, sometimes when you look at a card initially, you don't really think of all the possibilities, so if something pops into your head, then it's helpful to basically just offer some more thoughts on those cards, or thoughts I should say. But first off, we have a new Glalie and Froslass line, a very cute Snorant to kick things off. But this Glalie has the attack damage beat. For a single water energy, does 20 damage for each damage counter on your opponent's active Pokemon. Quite a nice finisher. You hit something with an Arceus, then you just finish them off basically with a single energy. It's quite nice. However, what Glalie could be used for, and this is probably the best use, is going to be a finisher in a kind of like Froslass toolbox deck. So first of all, we can talk about that amazing artwork. Very, very cool. But this Froslass has a very cool ability, Freezing Curtain, that says during Pokemon Checkup, put one damage counter on each Pokemon in play with an ability. Both yours and your opponent's, except any Froslass. So this is very reminiscent to me of Detention Gas Wheezing, which for those of you who don't know said when it was in the active spot, I believe, place one damage counter on each basic Pokemon in play between turns on your opponent's side of the field. So this is slightly different, and this is kind of confirming to me that we won't see the Rule of Evil Weavile reprint, which is a bit sad. However, still a very, very cool ability and a very, very cool card overall. Naturally, though, 90 HP means you are getting sniped quite easily by Greninja, and, your own Manaphy will get killed pretty quickly, as some people have already pointed out. So that's like the biggest issue for me personally with this card, but everything else is really cool. I'm already like cooking up some crazy decks with this. Ting Lu being one of them, I think could be quite cool with this. So yeah, there's definitely a whole lot of potential for this card. I think it could be very cool. Even if it's not like super competitive, I still think there's a ton of potential in like the more rogue deck kind of sense. So yeah, very, very cool card. Cool for spread decks and just cool for like single price decks that need to do a little bit more damage, And there is like plenty of single price decks in the format or coming out in this next set, which I think are just kind of a bit shy of doing enough damage, basically. I just feel like they could be doing just a smidge more. And you'll have to be careful, of course, you don't KO your own stuff, like your own Greninja or your own B-Barrel or something, but still, a very, very strong ability. Could definitely see some play. So yeah, that's the initial highlight of Froslass. Then we get into some new cards and illustration rares that were revealed. There was this Diplin that was revealed the other day, so we don't really have to talk about this guy, but the illustration rare is amazing. But yeah, this Diplin, honestly, still think is pretty good. 20 damage for each of your bench Pokemon. Could definitely get that Froslass involved to do a bit of extra damage. However, you've only got 8 HP. You do have an ability, so it's not going to be very long before, your own Froslass KO your own Diplin, which is quite scary. Also, something we didn't mention about Froslass is, based on this wording, it looks like this will stack. So if, your opponent can't remove, say, 2 Froslass in play, all their ability Pokemon will take 20 damage, and coming back into your turn, they will take another 20 damage, which is, quite respectable damage, actually, from an ability. So yeah, quite scary, but unfortunately, I think Diplin's just a wee bit too fragile for that, sadly. But yeah, Diplin definitely combos quite nicely with the new Thwackey, so yeah, should be quite a fun rogue deck. Then we have a new Clefable line with the attack of Metronome for double color. Says choose one of your opponent's active Pokemon's attacks and use it as this attack. Pretty cool, very situational though. It's not like we have Sorok anymore, which is, yeah, it's a bit tragic, but at the end of the day, this still isn't terrible. There is that Clefairy we've still got from Lost Origin, which is quite cool, but at the same time, I'm not like thinking this card will be busted, especially not requiring 2 colors, because Double Turbo will of course reduce your damage output, so there will be some instances where you could have got a 1-hit KO, but Double Turbo prevents that. Either way, though, I still think this is a very fun card to mess around with, and, will be a lot of fun to try out, basically. Then we see a art rare for Monkey Dory, which, in all honesty, is lovely. It's a very Master Oogway-esque style Monkey Dory over there. But yeah, this Monkey Dory is really cool. It says, once your turn, if this Pokemon has any darkness energy attached to it, you may move up to 3 damage counters from one of your Pokemon to one of your opponent's Pokemon, which is quite scary, actually. You know, I've been cooking up with this as well, like just one or two ideas. Hisuian Samurott V-Star comes to mind, as well as, you know, the Froslass with Hisuian Samurott V-Star. But, you know, there was another Pokemon, actually, that was revealed recently that made me think that Munkidori could be really good, but I've already forgotten what it was. It was probably like an EX that was cool, but yeah. This Munkidori, I definitely think this guy will see play at some point. It seems very, very good, but yeah. Cool illustration rare. Then we have Pheasantipity, a very nice illustration rare. We'll see if it loads. Oh, that's nice. So yeah, very pretty illustration rare if you want a more enhanced view of Munkidori. Yeah, very nice. But yeah, Pheasantipity is a bit more on the flippant side, quite literally. If this Pokemon has any darkness energy attached to it, and any damage is done to it by attacks, flip a coin if heads prevent that damage. So it doesn't actually specify your opponent's attacks in this translation, so I'm guessing if you use something like a Steelix, let's say for argument's sake you run Steelix and you do 30 damage to your bench Pokemon, then there's a chance that you won't do that damage, potentially. So that's cool to note, but yeah, definitely more of like a God of War attacker, especially with the attack energy feathers. So I'm assuming this will see some sort of use in God of War, but you know, seems pretty cool either way. Could be a very fun card to mess around with Xatu and stuff, so yeah, that's fun. Then we have a new Timber illustration rare and a Conkeldurr line. And this Conkeldurr has a very, very powerful attack that I'm really excited for. For a fighting and triple colorless, Gutsy Swing does 250. However, if this Pokemon is affected by a special condition, you can use this attack with ignoring its energy cost. So effectively, you don't have to play any energy in this deck. You don't have to. You can just play Brute Bonnet and Booster Capsules. And that seems kind of awkward because, you know, you're essentially swapping out your deck space that you would have allocated for energy for stuff like Brute Bonnet and Capsules. But at the same time, I still think this card has decent potential to be really consistent because, yeah, you're not quite doing like Feraligatr damage, but at the same time, I'm looking at this card and thinking 250. That's a lot of damage. You know, that's quite a bit. And we haven't even factored in poison yet, you know? So Brute Bonnet's poison will take this up to 260, which is really cool. And if you really want to get like Dangerous Jungle involved, although that's a stadium that you will have to find, of course, that can go all the way up to 280, I believe. Yeah. Or is it just 2 instead of 1? It might be 270 actually, but yeah. It's roughly like 270, 280, which is quite cool. So yeah, I'm definitely excited for this Conkeldurr. Seems really fun. Definitely seems to be more consistent than Feraligatr actually, because even though Feraligatr can use Irida, Feraligatr still needs 2 water energy to attack, which is definitely the most annoying thing about that card. This guy doesn't need any energy, so you don't have to play any, which is great. So yeah, it should be a cool poison deck, free attack kind of style deck. You could even run like the Hisuian Quillfish that does like poison for 0 energy or something. But yeah, seems like a very, very fun card. Then we get to the last monkey that wasn't revealed with the others for some reason. Okidogi, we'll call him. Yeah, very, very cool artwork. Kind of Godzilla, King Kong-esque artwork in my opinion. But yeah, pretty cool. Smashing through the mountains. Has the ability Adrenaline Power. If this Pokemon has any darkness energy attached to it, it gets plus 100 HP and its attacks do 100 more damage. And Oki Punchy, which I'm sure it's not going to be called that in the official English translation, unfortunately. But yeah, Oki Punchy for a double fighting energy, which is quite awkward, does 70 damage. So someone has pointed out, which I missed, is that you could just use a fighting energy and a luminous to pay for this attack cost and do 170 and have 230 HP. For some reason, when I first saw this card in my head, I was like, you need 2 fighting and a dark energy. No, you just need a fighting energy and a luminous for this thing to work, which is really cool. However, that still seems kind of awkward without Raihan. You know, I'm not going to say, like, don't experiment with this card, and I'll personally be trying out a few different things and experimenting, you know, just seeing what I can cook up with because in theory, this seems great, right? 170 for 2 energy, also has a ton of HP. Seems really cool, right? But at the same time, that attack cost, very, very annoying, very awkward. So maybe Garchomp EX is the way. Actually, no, Garchomp EX cannot be the way for this card. But yeah, there has to be some way of playing this. Like, surely, it's just an amazing stat line. But yeah, Oki Punchy seems like a very cool card. Then we get to the other, well, the major reveal, I would say, for today, and that is a Tatsugiri of all things. So 70 HP, so you can use Buddy Poffin to find this guy. Has the ability Attract Customers that says once your turn, if his Pokemon is in the active spot, you may look at the top 6 cards of your deck, reveal a sports card you find there, and put it into your hand. Then shuffle the other cards back into your deck. And then Surf for a Fire and a Water does 50 damage. So Dondozo Tatsugiri deck got a massive buff, which is really cool. This card's just also fantastic, really. Just in general, it's giving off very strong Muse Celebrations vibes. I don't think this is quite as good as Jirachi. Yeah, not as good as Jirachi for sure, but still really good. Like, I could definitely see this being a small draw engine, a bunch of decks, that already can run a skateboard. And a skateboard and Buddy Poffin opens the door to stuff like Mimikyu or Comfey if you really wanted to. So, yeah, I definitely think this Tatsugiri will see a whole bunch of play. And finding a supporter card over any random item just seems really, really good and will help a lot of decks out. Especially those decks that need to play like a certain support every turn, like Raging Bolt, for example. So, yeah, I could definitely see this card seeing a bunch of whole play. So, yeah, Tatsugiri for the win seems really cool. And that was it for those reveals. But yeah, definitely some cool highlights. I like the look of the Congelador. This monkey looks really fun, but I'm not sure how to play it just yet. I will take suggestions in the comments if you have any. Pheasantipity definitely feels like a God of War card. And Monkey Dory definitely has some cool applications. So yeah, should be cool overall. And Clefable is a bit more on the rogue side. Same with Diplin, although I have faith in Diplin, right? I shouldn't have this much faith in Diplin, but I think it's really cool. But yeah. There was also a stadium revealed called a Jamming Tower that says Pokemon tool cards attached to Pokemon in play, both yours and your opponent's, have no effect. Which is, I personally don't like this card that much, just because I feel like A-Spec tool cards are already competing for deck space against better A-Specs, Well, not necessarily just better A-Specs, but, they're still competing for that slot. And you can still use, like, Lost Vacuum, right? So I don't think we need to be hurting tool cards that much, especially not, like my precious Feraligatr deck that relies on EXP share to actually do anything. But yeah, Jamming Tower, it's one of those things where it's cool, I guess. It helps turn off Maximum Belt. But at the same time, I'm not, like, wildly in love with this card. It's a bit of a goofy design as well, but honestly, I would have preferred this if it did some more disruption, maybe directly against ace-backs being played or something, but, it's still like a interesting card, I guess, but, not sure I'm a huge fan of it. Just means, though, that you will have to consider playing stadiums if you're kind of relying on tool cards to do serious work in your deck, so yeah. I guess it's cool in that sense, but yeah. That is Jamming Tower. But yeah, I definitely think this Froslass is like the highlight for me personally. It's really annoying that I can't think of like more deck ideas for this card, like off the top of my head. But there's definitely a few that I'm thinking of in my head right now. Cramorant actually, or Scizor, because Scizor doesn't have an ability on itself. So yeah, definitely some cool ideas. Definitely will be a whole ton of fun to mess around with this guy. It is a bit risky though, of course, because it will KO stuff like Diplin, so you can't really run it in that deck. You can't really run this guy in... Well, you could run it in Lost Zone if you were feeling risky, but yeah. Quite a scary card, but it will KO your stuff quite quickly. But yeah. The thought of like setting up 4 of these though, I know it's unrealistic, but say you did set up 4. You could place 4 damage counters going into your opponent's turn, and assuming they didn't boss KO any of them, they would take another 4 damage counters going back into your turn. Like, that is crazy. I'm not sure like a Froslass Glalie deck would ever work really, because you're just not doing enough damage quick enough. But, well, maybe with Crazy Headbutt, but yeah, no, actually. What am I saying? No. Yeah, it's also like funny because most of the V-Stars have a V-Star power that's an ability, not an attack. Wait, do all of them have an ability, not an attack? I have to think about that actually. Why do I not remember these things? I'm terrible today. Right? Wait, do V-Stars have V-Star attacks? Huh. I've kind of forgotten actually. I think some of them do, but yeah, most of the, most of the prevalent ones at least, like Lugia, right? Giratina. Oh yeah, of course, because Giratina doesn't have an ability. What am I saying? Yeah, but there is some like big ones like Arceus and Lugia that have an ability. So yeah. Oh yeah, Archeops. That's cool. So yeah, just a very, very fun card. Like, even this Galele, which is, usually gets the rough end of the stick, or the short straw, we should say. Yeah, Glalie is still really cool for like spread decks. It's a bit better than low kicks, I would say, honestly. And this Froslass just seems really, really fun. And that like can we get a zoom in? There we go. Wow. Very, very cool artwork. But yeah. Crazy, crazy card. And yeah, this Diplin maybe Diplin Froslass could be a meme deck, but yeah, it just seems kind of terrible, but yeah, it'd be funny. Clefable seems quite fun. I know I'm kind of like just skimming back over these reveals, but yeah, Monkey Door is cool though. I really like this ability. Like just being able to effectively heal 30 damage and also place 30 damage in one go seems quite crazy. You still have to use Nest Ball to get it out, but yeah, I'm going to be playing a lot of this card. I can already tell. Like as long as TCG Live cooperates when the set drops, then I think Monkey Dory will be my go-to Pokemon. Pheasant Dipsty seems quite fun. The Conkeldurr, honestly, Conkeldurr 250. Wow, like that's yeah. I'm just thinking like back to all the stage twos from like the Sword and Shield Sun and Moon era, which like didn't really see much play apart from like the Charizard, I should say. But yeah, Conkeldurr, cool card. And this Okidogi, I think this one might actually be like one of the weakest actually of the cards. Yeah, this could be weaker than the other ones, but we'll have to see. And of course, Tatsuguri will definitely see a whole bunch of play. So cool, Tatsuguri is meta. The Sishu Boy is meta. Maybe Dondozo will be better, but yeah. It's been our power, and yeah, let me know what you think down below, and thank you for watching.